This is Revival X with John Burton.
This is John Burton with the Revival X podcast, and something got me riled up, and hey, let's talk about it. I'm going to talk about the church and how we perceive ourselves to be a part of this great end time, just this battle axe, this machine, this vehicle, this weapon in the hands of God, the church. Let me throw this out there at you. The church is not meant to be a side hustle, a side gig, a supplement to our lives, something that we just kind of fit in there. We participate at a level to where, as long as we're not too tired, and as long as there's not soccer and baseball and football and dance and drama and productions and school and other types of things going on, we'll kind of squeeze the church in there, and it usually kind of bottoms out at that level of, well, I know I'm supposed to go to church, so I'm kind of just a little bit kind of gonna commit, kind of just a little bit, not so much that I don't maintain control of my own life and my own situation, but I'm going to just kind of be involved just a little bit. Of course, there's many out there, they just jump ship entirely, but something riled me up. I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. But I want to encourage you to subscribe to the podcast. You can use any of your favorite podcast outlets out there, be it Apple or Spotify or whatever. But subscribe. I'm starting to put more podcasts out there and more long-form content. But yeah, I got riled up, sure did. And it's the part of me that, I talk a lot about the church. I talk a lot about the Ekklesia. We're gonna be getting into that a little bit. And I know that in order to see revival come, in order to see just dramatic impact come to the church, come to a city, come to our nation, we need radical, wild reformation to come to the church. I just got done teaching on 27 points of revolution that need to come to the church, and I'm going to actually write a book. And I just finished my book, Staying Saved, which all of you need to grab that one. But I'm going to write 2 more books, and book 1 is 27 points of revelation, and that's going to that's going to deal with revival in our personal lives. Book 2, 27 points of revolution in the church. So the idea is we need to see incredible, just absolutely stunning, shocking, irritating, inconvenient reform come to the church. The way a lot of people are doing it is they are just abandoning the church. They're deconstructing, use whatever word that you want, but they've just kind of given up on it, or they're redefining it. A lot of confusion about what the Ekklesia is, and I write about that quite a bit. I want to encourage you to pick that up, but the simple idea is the Ekklesia. It's a secular term, and it's a gathering under governmental leadership for the sake of responding and advancing in unity, in sync. And so that's what the church is. There are people out there that say, I'm just so tired of just sitting in a service and being lectured at. It's not that I don't understand that, because a lot of these lectures, they're not anointed. There's no unction, there's no power, there's no fire, there's no direction, there's no strength and focus on it, right? You're not going anywhere. It's just kind of little tiny nuggets of biblical truth kind of help you through your day. I get that. I don't like those lectures either. We need unction. We need the anointing. We need the firepower of the Spirit of God. But the answer isn't just to eliminate that. Really what the Ekklesia is at its core, it is a gathering of people sitting and listening to a lecture and responding. So the idea is we need to hear instructions, we need to be equipped, and we need to know how to advance. Just think of Gideon as an example. Gideon, he had to grow up real fast. And he's giving instructions based on what the Lord gave him, so he had his Ekklesia there. and he's instructing some based on their own behavior to go home, others to get ready, pick up jars, get ready to, bang them together, get ready to shout, all of this stuff for the sake of advancing against the enemy. That's the church. That's Ekklesia. It's not just this gathering of people who want to do kumbaya together and eat together and worship together and pray together. And hey, if you want to do that, that's cool. That's good. I mean, you should do that. But that's not Ekklesia. Well, so with that out of the way, what got me riled up? It's something really simple. But I was on Facebook, and I'm in a church media Facebook group, and I just like with most stuff on Facebook, I'll just peruse and kind of check in every now and then, or whatever shows up on my feed. And someone asked the question. They were at their wits' end, and they were giving leadership to a media team there at the church. The team that handles the cameras and recording and the slides and just all the media stuff. And he said he just doesn't know what to do because people are just not showing up on time. They're showing up late, every week. And what should I do about this? And some people jumped on there and kind of took the the beta approach, if you want to call it that, instead of the alpha dog. It's like, well, sit down with them and see what's going on in their life that would cause them, that would necessitate them being late and I wrote, and I'm thinking, no. We've got a problem here. We've got a leadership problem. The expectations should be clear. The culture should be established. That, listen, if you are going to take this casually, then it's best for you to find another place to serve. Go make cupcakes for the kids ministry. Do something. If you're late making cupcakes, that's not good either. Everybody wants cupcakes on time. I don't know where they're going to serve. But if they don't have the discipline on a regular basis, I'm not talking about one-offs, on a regular basis, to show up on time, come on. It's disrespectful. And it shows a lack of maturity, shows a lack of readiness, and it can show a lack of leadership if that culture hasn't been established. And I said, you need to communicate it often. Let them know, hey, early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. I think sometimes we get the idea that with volunteers that we just got to roll over and let them walk all over us and they can do whatever they want to do. That's not the Ekklesia. That has nothing to do with whether you're paid or not. Almost nobody's paid in the Ekklesia. It's about gathering together a military, and I'm going to go over some points here that's going to help us understand. But we're gathering together people that are serious. They understand that people are going to hell. They understand that God's getting us ready for a massive end time battle. Man, we've got to fix this thing. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 words. 6 words that they all sound kind of the same. I did that on purpose. I usually don't do that, but I'm like, hey, these all sound kind of the same. And these 6 words, I'm going to talk about them just a little bit. And this is the Ekklesia. This is how we need to gather people. Listen, if we have half-interested people that don't take their assignment seriously, and they presume the church just to be kind of a part of their life, as opposed to something that they're having dreams and visions and encounters, and they're getting wrecked by God, and they've got an assignment, they've got a mission, and they're advancing with serious sobriety. If we don't have those people, we'll never get the job done. All right, so first word is precision. Precision. We need military level precision in the church, which means, yeah, we're showing up on time. In fact, we're showing up really early. For me as a leader, and I've done this my whole life, and any good leader will do this, is I'll give out assignments or I'll lay out expectations, and I'll watch, and without any judgment, but simply with an analytical approach to see who is going to be someone that I can rely on as we advance, because if you don't have someone that is going to be connected, locked in, responsive, ready, mature, you don't have that person, and then you try to grow your military level team with others who are kind of distracted a little bit, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So any good leader does this. So I'll give assignments, usually pretty simple assignments, or lay out an expectation, or this whole thing about, for me, the whole being on time thing is a big one. So if I lay that out and I communicate it, I make it well known. It's like, listen, this is the expectation. We're not going to be late. I'm going to try to show up 30 minutes early to anything and everything. And I want to encourage you to try to do the exact same thing. Even we have a business, even at our business, we let employees know that they can clock in 15 minutes early. Show up early. We want you to show up early. They know that if they show up literally 1 minute late, then that's an issue, right? But certainly it should be even greater in the church. I think sometimes we think, well, that's our job. The church should be more serious, more precise. We're talking about precision, military level precision in the church. If you have a quote unquote family church mindset, then it's just organic, and it's just casual, and it's do as you want and show up when you want, and that'll never work. But the end time church, the end time remnant church, must have military level precision. So the people on the media team in that example I was talking about, you want to be on the team? I want you to be on the team. But these are the expectations. It's going to be up to you whether you choose to meet the expectations or not. If you choose not to meet the expectations, which will be evidenced by you not meeting the expectations, then there will be another place for you to serve, or you can take a time out and you can grow and develop, and you can go through whatever process you have to there. But these are the expectations. We need people to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We need these things to be done. If these things are not done, then we need to find people that will do those things. Because again, this isn't simply about me finding a place for you. This is about, I've said, the example I've used so many times is the United States military was not established for the sake of people finding a place to connect and fit in, and it's ludicrous. The military has a purpose. It's to defend our nation, and the military needs soldiers. And yes, there's benefits to being a part of the military, of course, but it's not about the benefits. It's about the soldiers showing up, right? What happens if you don't show up? You're AWOL, absent without leave, right? And the church, as the Ekklesia, must be even more precise. Again, talking about precision. Are we really locked in? Again, I've done it my whole life, where I will give out assignments. I'll communicate something, and very simple things, very, very simple things. And honestly, to be very point blank, those who do not fulfill those expectations, they're wonderful people almost all the time. Incredible people that I value, people that I love, people that I want to be a part of what we're doing for a long time, people that when they're not there, it makes me sad, people that bring value to the church as a whole. But in terms of leadership, people that are going to step up and be in a position, a very serious position of leadership, of advance, of contending, of, that position, well, they may not be ready for that position. Okay, I think it was John Bevere in one of his books. He was talking about, I think it was in his book Undercover. It's a book about submission to authority, and he was sharing a story, and I think this is how it goes, where he was told to I think dig a ditch. It's been a long time since I've read it, but something that just was hard and irritating and didn't even make sense. Hey, I need you to go dig this ditch out in the back. And why? Why are we going to dig the ditch? What's it for? Pastor's like, don't worry about that. I just need you to dig the ditch. And so he does. He goes out and spends hours digging this ditch. And he comes back in. He's like, oh, it's all done. What was that for? And then again, if I'm getting this right, the pastor said, now I need you to go fill the ditch back in. And John didn't understand. Well, the pastor was testing him. He was testing him to see if he would be reliable in the place of battle. Would he be reliable? Would he be somebody that could be counted on when it doesn't make sense and it's irritating and it's hard, but someone who would follow instructions to the T? Would he be reliable? And we live in such an independent nation nowadays, especially in the church. People with an independent spirit, they want to be in control of their lives. They want to be in control of their spiritual experience. They want to be in control. And what I'm talking about right now is probably just stressing them out. If you're listening to this right now, it's stressing you out. And you got all sorts of questions. What about bad leadership? We can get into all this. I'm not going to do it right now in this podcast. We'll save it for another podcast. But there's a way to respond to bad leadership or poor leadership. And it's not being independent and doing your own thing. It's not that at all. All right, so precision, military level precision. That was number one. Number two, vision. We all have to be locked into the vision of the church, of the ministry. What is the reason we're gathering? There's a lot of pastors out there, they wouldn't even know themselves why they gather. You got these tired old mission statements to grow closer to God and each other, those types of things. That's not vision. What is the vision? What is the end goal? A lot of churches, by the way, should have an end goal. There should be an end date even to their existence sometimes. And it's not so much about just developing this family and developing this little thing that's going to just be forever, and now we're going to just be together forever. There's churches out there, and good churches, what you would call a good church, healthy church, and they just kind of show up every Sunday and they just sing their songs and shake hands and smile and have friends and all that kind of stuff. And well, that's really not Ekklesia, as I've said before. But this the end time church is such a different thing. And are we going to have vision to do what God has called us to do? For example, at Revival X, the vision is to see full-blown revival in the city of Branson and beyond. And of course, there's a lot of moving parts regarding that vision, but that's the vision. And we need to be unified in the vision. So when you're part of a church, no longer is it about your own personal thing. Long time ago, I think Amy and I were just married. I was as young as could be, never been in ministry in my life. But God was getting a hold of me, and I had this vision, just this personal vision, or this personal drive, this personal passion, right? And attended a church, and this church, it's kind of funny looking back at it, but I never really connected very much in the church, in terms of being, you know what I'm talking about, just being really locked in. I didn't even know a ton of people there. I knew some people, but because of my passion, they gave me an opportunity to do a little bit of leadership in the youth ministry and this kind of thing. Well, it came to a point where it was more about me than it was about their vision. And I didn't do it on purpose necessarily. I mean, I wasn't nefarious in my intent, but I was just kind of running with it. And I was really bringing, more focus to what the direction God had for my life, as opposed to being a support and a proponent and a catalyst of the vision of that church. And they called me out on it. And I was a young dude. And I'm like, wow, really? And I actually said, well, I thought that I could use this church as a launching pad for my ministry. And it's hilarious as I look back on that. I was such an idiot that I would think that. But I did. I thought that. And again, I wasn't being nefarious. I wasn't being like shady. I was just young and dumb. And I'm like, and I thought that's kind of how it worked. Well, that's not how it works. But it happens all the time. People will want to be a part of a church to advance their own agenda. And a lot of people will enjoy the big picture vision. They're like, wow, yeah, revival, as an example. Every church I've had has been revival. Yeah, revival. But then the angle that they bring, the perspective that they bring is just not at all what we might embrace. They might be big into this theological persuasion. They might be big into this particular method or this focus or this outlook or this book or this other leader, and that's just not the way it works. I've said before as an example, I love, I love reading and listening to sermons and things like that, but I'm very careful about overdosing on other leaders, big name leaders, other conferences, all of that kind of stuff in such a way that it taints the vision God has given me. Because it's very easy. It's easy to read about how somebody else did it or how somebody else is doing it, or a perspective that they have, or a theological revelation, or on and on and on and on. It's like, whoa, we need to implement that. We need to implement that. We need to implement that. And boy, you talk about getting derailed fast. And there's people out there, they'll get very frustrated when the pastor of the church does not embrace their particular revelation, their particular methodology, their paradigm. And they get frustrated. It's like, wait a minute, we all want revival, but we need to bring this other stuff into it. Well, no, not necessarily. We need to be unified in vision without the expectation that our agenda or our experience, our background, our revelation needs to somehow fit into that. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. To go into a church and just to fully support the vision of that church and laying all the other stuff down, putting it on the shelf. So vision, we need unified direction. Very, very, very important. We need people that are just burning with vision. I've had such incredible people in my ministries where, man, I didn't have to do nothing, and they just had the vision. I always mention, Miles, a friend of mine, Miles, in Manitou Springs. He had the vision. He was carrying it in many ways, even more than me in some ways. And he had a different perspective, but it was one that I fully embraced, and it fit, and it was right, and it was good. And when I say different perspective, it's just that he was more focused in one type of apostolic and warfare and prophetic stuff. And it was such a benefit. It's so good. And he would continually get in touch with me and reach out to me. We saw each other all the time, every day almost, and we'd be talking, and he'd be mapping things out, and he'd have dreams, and he'd tell me about his dreams and visions the Lord has given him, and warnings and things we would need to do. So he carried the vision of revival in Manitou Springs, Colorado, just as I did, right? And so we need people like that they carry the vision. It's so critical. It's so critical, as opposed to being people that kind of like the vision, and they bring their own agenda, they have their own perspective, they want to do their own thing, and they don't really have the passion for the way that it's being done. So again, we're talking about the Ekklesia. Okay, number 3 out of 6. So first we have precision, then we have vision, now we have promotion. They're all shun words. Promotion. This is not about all of the ridiculous prophetic words that are out there on Facebook, that this is your season of promotion. Oh God, we need that to end. Stop it. If you're looking for promotion, stop it. Stop it. Stop looking for your next level. Stop looking for your promotion. Stop looking for your stop. Stop it. Come and die. Take up your cross and die. So I'm not talking about that kind of promotion. I'm talking about personally being intentional in discipleship, and then allowing God to promote you, not in the eyes of man, but just promote you in the spirit. So you are a greater threat to the enemy today than you were yesterday. You know, this whole promotion in the eyes of man thing. When I was at a previous ministry, there was something that they would talk about called the Ferris wheel of favor. And it was a rough thing for a lot of people, where you would watch, it was a big ministry, and you would watch certain people, they would be at the forefront, and they'd be preaching on the platform, and they'd be bringing, prophetic words, and they were favored, by the leadership, and all of that was going on. It's like, wow, they've been given a platform, and they're really advancing, in their particular, ministry, and it's, wow, that's really good. And it's really supportive of everything that God's doing in the ministry there. It's amazing. And then some time would go by. It's the Ferris wheel of favor, and the Ferris wheel would move. And that person that was on top of the Ferris wheel, very slowly, they come to find out, whoa, wait a minute. Where's the favor? Where's the position? Where's the connection with key leadership? Where's the pat on the back? Where's the lifted arms? Where is that? Now you find yourself on the bottom of the Ferris wheel of favor. And it's very intentional desert season that's baked in to the experience of the church. It needs to be. And so now these people who were favored, now they're not because they were in sin, not because of anything bad that they did, but because now, guess what? It's time to go through a season of refining, of humbling, of breaking. It's a continual process. God's ready to refine us again, right? And time goes by, and it could be months or years. Or maybe never, to where you're favored like you were before in that ministry, and now you just get to serve. Maybe you scoot up a few slots up here, and you're a leader, and you're able to do what you're called to do, but you're not. There's no parades in your honor. People aren't necessarily seeing you as the leader, as a senior leader, right? And so we need to focus on promotion, but do you realize promotion comes when you're at the bottom of the Ferris wheel of favor, not at the top. And it's a personal promotion, and it's a promotion where demons now know your name. That's the goal, as opposed to men knowing your name. So that needs to be happening in the Ekklesia. It's this equipping, this discipleship, this intensity in growing. Someone asked me a question just today, actually. How can I be mentored by the pastor in the church? And it's not a bad question. It's a good question, because there's something inside all of us that we want to grow, and we want that. But I told this person, I said, don't expect that. That's really not how the process works. And many pastors are not equipped to do that. They're not wired to do that. They're not called to do that. That's not their focus. That's not their position. I was talking about how small groups can help in that. But really, it's something we do on our own. And we do it in community, but we do it on our own. We take it upon ourselves, I guess is the way to say it, to grow, to be developed, to mature. We get with God. We wrestle with God. And we don't rely on other people necessarily to do that. Of course, God will use other people as he sees fit. He will certainly do that. Does it all the time. But in terms of our focus, this is what's happening in the Ekklesia. We can't We can't just stop the forward momentum of this military unit because we're not satisfied with how people are being taught. I love how Francis Chan said, he was telling the story of someone said, I don't really like to worship, today. And Francis, he said, well, that's funny. Well, we weren't worshiping you. It's same thing. Well, I don't know that I like the teaching. Well, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about entertaining you. If you don't like the teaching, that's okay. I've said in a lot of messages that I don't like. Well, get some that you do. The internet is loaded with messages. Feed yourself. You're still drinking milk, but you ought to be eating steak by now. I believe that's the Message version. So promotion, we got to focus on that, but it's not what most people think it is. All right, number 4, omission. Omission. So we have precision, vision, promotion. Now, omission. This is in the Ekklesia. This is the church. Omission of distractions. And these are things that many would say are good and needed, good and necessary, good and powerful, good and effective in a church. But the vision of that church will dictate what is needed and what is not. So you start adding stuff to the church that's good, quote unquote, good stuff, but they distract from the mission and the vision. You got problems. And I've done this, man. I have learned this. I was leading a church in a place at one time, and just because the people were awesome and they had a certain perspective of ministry that I didn't totally jive with. I mean, I wasn't opposed, but it wasn't a great fit. But I saw that it caused them to come alive, and I allowed them to have their own small group focusing on that. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. That focus of theirs should have been omitted from our ministry. I made the mistake. It was my fault. Not because they were bad people, not because even their perspective was a bad, evil, heretical perspective. It wasn't. I just didn't totally embrace it. I didn't totally jive with it, and I've had it, here, in future assignments, future times. After that, I've been quicker to put, to say no. We're not going to focus on that. That's not us. It's not who we are. It doesn't mean it's bad. Could fit somewhere else, great, but that's not who we are. As an example, we have a rule around here that we don't counsel. We're omitting counseling. We have a rule that we can sit down with somebody once. My leadership team knows this. One time. We're not counselors. I don't have a counseling degree. Nobody on my team does. And we can, be it marital counseling, be it a one-on-one issue that, a man's having struggles in an area or ladies having struggle, whatever. And they want to meet one-on-one. We do it one time. That's it. We will not even casually around coffee entertain counseling beyond that one time. We refer them out. We have reasons for that. But that's an example. Something we omit. We omit children's ministry. We omit youth ministry. People that come to Revival X, if they aren't just absolutely desperate for Jesus and Jesus alone, it's a struggle for them to come to Revival X. We have no live worship, but the anointing during worship, we do worship. The anointing is incredible. It's powerful, right? But if there's not live worship, people struggle. If there's not children's ministry, they struggle. There's not maybe a small group, they struggle. If the focus is mostly on intercession, they struggle. And so a lot of people come to Revival X, and it's a struggle for them because they don't have the stuff that they want. So much has been omitted. And I'm at the point where I just do not care at all about that. I will not put something into play that needs to be omitted. I'm not going to do it. It'll derail us. And so I'm not out to grow a big church. I understand there's way more people visiting and not coming back than there are people visiting and staying. I understand that. And God bless all of them. but we're staying on track. We're not going to get derailed. So that's important. It's important for people that are part of the Ekklesia, part of a local body, that to understand that just because something is omitted doesn't mean that it's a bad, evil thing. It's just not. It's not our thing, right? The next word here, we got precision, vision, promotion, omission. 2 more words. The next one, collision. The Ekklesia is focused on collision with culture. Collision with culture, meaning we expect to see the kingdom of God advancing in the culture of the region, of the city that we're in. We're not just here to do our nice little church thing. We want to see the culture challenged. We want to see the religious system disrupted. We want to see that. There's a collision with darkness, a collision with wicked forces. And so this is huge. We've got to be ready to advance. We can't simply stay back and always be learning, always be in this place where we're just waiting. We've got to collide with culture, pray, advance. We got to tear down strongholds. We got to tear down altars, unholy altars. We got, that's a big focus of what the church should be doing. Collision with culture. There's a lot that I could say about that, but let me leave that one alone. Let's go to the last one. The last one, munitions. This is an interesting one. Munitions. We have weapons. We have ammunition to battle against an invisible enemy. So the Ekklesia should be mostly fighting, not mostly healing. There's such a victim mindset in a lot of churches. There are those who are continually licking their wounds. There are those that do not grow beyond where they are. There are those that are continually focused on on dealing with their own demons. There's people out there that be like, I've got to cast out 100 demons before I can do anything for the kingdom of God. I'm like, I don't see how that works like that in Scripture. I don't see that. Let's get this thing done. Let's get it done. Does it take some time? Sure, of course. But that doesn't mean you don't fight in the meantime. You don't stay stuck to your hospital bed with tubes and wires hooked up to you. You might have a limp, right? You should have a limp. You might have some of this going on. But still get out on the battlefield. Fight. No more victim mindset. No more licking our wounds. No more thinking that we are just continually defeated by the enemy and beat down by the enemy and none. We got to stop that. It's not about us. I mean, just think about it. If you saw something, if you saw somebody being attacked on a street corner, and you had a broken left arm, there's a little child there, or somebody maybe abducted or something like that going on. You have a broken left arm and you stubbed your toe and someone hurt your feelings. Are you just going to not help that child or that person from being abducted? It's crazy. No, you fight. You go to battle. You sound the alarm. You do what needs to be done. But here we have people in the church who are continually wounded and continually laying in their hospital bed and continually, refusing to step up and to fulfill the mission on their life. It's not how it works. That is absolutely not how it works. So munitions, we gotta get our weapons. We got to fight. We got to take up our sword. We got to put on our armor. We got to do it together. So quickly again, precision. We need military level precision. Vision. We got to have the vision of the house. This is corporate vision as opposed to individual vision. Got to focus on our own promotion in the spirit, not in the natural. We need to be okay with the omission of distractions. And the collision with culture is huge. And then munitions. We have been called to fight. And so we got to figure this thing out. This whole idea of a media team leader can't figure out how to get his team to show up on time. Oh my goodness. How are you going to face principalities and powers and rulers, and how are we going to do that if we can't even show up on time? It's madness. So critical stuff. You know, what you're doing is you are raising a team of people that are so bought in to the vision, not their own thing, that you could not show up. You know, I was just gone for 3 weeks. You could not show up for a month. And the people there in the church, they are promoting the corporate vision, not their own vision. They're promoting the corporate vision. They're advancing the corporate vision. They're radically supporting the call of the house, right? They're individually working on their personal promotion in the spirit. They're going to battle. You know, they have precision in the way that they're giving leadership. You know, and you're raising up people like that. And so if you're the leader, don't be afraid to call people higher and to set the expectation, to set the bar high. And if you're under leadership, be there, precise, fulfill expectations, be a soldier, don't be AWOL, don't be casual, don't get taken out by your own emotions. Lock in and get the job done, because we need to see revival come. And a casual family-style church where sports and ballet win out every night, there's a conflict. That's never going to work. All right, guys. I would love to hear your comments. You can go to burton.tv and you can contact me there. All of the communication just comes straight to the ministry. I'd love to hear from you. But other than that, you're amazing. I pray God blesses you wildly. And I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for listening to Revival X with John Burton. You can access media, read articles, and partner with the ministry at revivalx.tv. And share this podcast with those who are hungry for revival, reformation, and revolution.